Introduction. Hello everyone. Welcome to your lecture on content analysis. This lecture is a part of your paper on communication research. So, what is content analysis? Interpretation of what is contained content in a message is called content analysis. According to Cole, 1988, it is a method of analyzing written, verbal or visual communication messages. Content analysis is the study of recorded human communication such as diary entries, books, newspapers, videos, text messages, tweets, Facebook updates, etc. Being the scientific study of the content of communication, content analysis is usually the study of contexts, meanings, subtext, intentions contained in the messages. For example, if a researcher wishes to study whether Indian newspapers promote violence, she can draw the sample from some important Indian newspapers and analyze the content selected from the newspaper. Analysis of the selected content will help to unearth the real picture. Content analysis can be done both quantitatively as well as qualitatively. Content analysis, qualitative research method. Quantitative research method. Qualitative content analysis and quantitative content analysis. Primarily, content analysis has been used as a quantitative research method. However, over the years, it is being used as a qualitative research technique or both. The qualitative approach of this technique has been able to address gray areas of the quantitative approach. Conventional, directed or summative content analysis has three different approaches. Even though coding schemes are directly derived from the text data in the conventional content analysis, the theory or earlier researchers lay the foundations for primary codes in the directed approach of the scheme. Counting and comparisons of the keywords or content followed by analysis are cardinal in the third and the final approach, summative content analysis. Unlike the earlier approach, the qualitative approach enables to provide a detailed and in-depth description of the content. As per Zhang and Wildermuth 2009, through careful data preparation, coding and interpretation, the results of the qualitative content analysis can support the development of new theories and models, as well as validate existing theories and provide thick descriptions of the particular settings or phenomena. There are generally two types of content analysis. Conceptual analysis deals with the analysis of the existence and frequency of concepts in human communication. Rational analysis, analyzing the relationship of the concepts in human communication. Now, let us move on to the type of content analysis. Process of content analysis. There are few simple steps to understand the whole process of content analysis. To start with, 1. Identify your research question. For example, does media portray violence? 2. Select your sample. For example, you have decided to study the content of the Indian Express newspaper. Through multi-stage systematic sampling, you may select 12 issues of the newspaper of a particular year following any systematic scheme like 1st Jan, 2nd Feb, 3rd March, 4th April, 5th May, 12th December. This will be a sample. 3. Skim the material selected through the sampling procedure and make a list of main themes you plan to analyze. For example, if you are studying the portrayal of women in media, during the review of material like films, videos, soap operas, etc., you can categorize themes like women as leaders, women in education, women in private sector, and many other negative and positive categories. Keeping those themes in mind, you can classify the content accordingly. 4. This would become your coding system or scheme. One may ask, what is coding that we are repeatedly using? Coding means to put information into a quantifiable form. You need trained coders for coding. Both the training and the experience of the coder are necessary for reliable coding. Neuendorf 2002. To ensure the consistency of coding, especially when multiple coders are involved, you should develop a coding manual, which usually consists of category, names, definitions, or rules for assigning codes, and examples. Weber 1990. Through systematic classification process of coding and identifying themes or patterns, content analysis is a research method for the subjective interpretation of the content of text data. Heiss and Shannon 2005. 5. Keep in mind the categories made during the preliminary study shouldn't overlap each other. The categories or themes must be defined in a way that would be easily understandable. In this regard, operational definitions are cardinal. 6. In case some content doesn't fit any of the categories but is related to the topic under study, you can make few new categories like miscellaneous or others and list the content accordingly. 7. After qualitative analysis of the content, you can also quantify these themes simply by counting the frequencies. Hence, analysis of the content can be done in both qualitative as well as quantitative manner at the same time. Now, let us discuss some of the uses of content analysis as suggested by some scholars. Enlisting the uses of content analysis into the context of basic communication paradigm, eminent political scientist and academician Holsti 1969 has amassed 15 different features of the content analysis into 3 sets. 1. Make inferences about the antecedents of the communication. 2. Describe and make inferences about characteristics of a communication. 3. Make inferences about the effects of communication. Berelson 1952 suggests that content analysis is objective, systematic and quantitative. Content analysis is based on the 3 basic doctrines of the scientific method like all other methods of research. They are as below. 1. Objectivity. Different researchers will be enabled to obtain the same result from the same source as the analysis is guided by some clear-cut rules. 2. Systematic. By eradicating the chances of incorporating only material supporting the researcher's idea, the exclusion and inclusion of the content are guided by strongly reliable rules. 3. External validity or generalizability. The extent to which results obtained by the researcher can be generalized or applied to other similar situations. Before going further into the terminology, let's do an interesting exercise on our daily basis practices to understand this very simple concept of content analysis. Suppose you reached ABC Hotel to eat something very special today with only rupees 120 in your pocket. Problem. You will pick up the menu and read it thoroughly. There may be food, items listed in different categories like Chinese, Japanese, Indian, Arabic, etc. Population. As you feel to eat Indian food only, so Indian category becomes your target. Sample. You will go through the menu card and check almost all the food items, including the prices listed under this category. While selecting a food item, which could possibly satisfy your taste buds, you will continuously think of your budget. Your whole search has been revolving around your taste. Your budget, this is your coding scheme. You will finally reach a conclusion to order a dish selected from the range of food items which suits both the aforementioned conditions. With the problem special food on a limited budget, you perused the list of food items keeping these two themes or categories in mind. So what did you understand? You did a content analysis following the whole process. Units of analysis. Now, what is the unit of analysis in content analysis? In content analysis, the analysts reduce the content to small units so that they can measure it. This small discretely defined element becomes the basic unit of measurement or analysis. In content analysis, the basic unit of analysis can be a word, a phrase, a sentence, a paragraph, an article, an image, a video, a MMS, a TV program, etc. During the 19th century, according to Harwood and Gary 2003, content analysis was used to analyze newspaper articles, magazines, hymns, advertisements or other political speeches. Over the period of time, this method has witnessed a steady growth in the other fields of social science, arts and humanities. The method of content analysis can be applied to study majorly 5 types of texts: written text including documents, books, papers, newspapers, etc. Oral texts including sound, speeches, audio messages, lectures, etc. Iconic texts including graphs, paintings, posters, drawings, etc. Audiovisual texts including film, MMS, videos, etc. Hypertext, text on the internet. Significance of content analysis. Communication research has been gaining significant importance. There is an important need to study the areas of communications untouched yet. In this regard, the field of communication research is predominantly dependent on content analysis. Being one of the most employed analytical tools used in this multidiscipline, content analysis is basically a set of procedures used to transfer discrete information into an organized format, allowing analysts to make inferences. It is a research technique of coding and interpreting text to make a valid and replicable inference. For example, through the studying of framing of the media, researchers can analyze the tone, negative, positive or neutral, of the news stories published by the selected newspapers. It can be referred to a method of extracting meaningful information from complex lengthy messages or text. For example, if a researcher is studying the coverage given by the Indian Express newspaper to sanitation issues in India through the help of predetermined keywords, she will collect all the articles related to sanitation of a particular time period and then make inferences. Predetermined keywords are important words used in the text. For example, if you want to study coverage of climate change in India, climate change, global warming, greenhouse gases, etc. are the important keywords or themes you have to search in the headlines or leads of the news stories. Mostly, these keywords are listed or collected through a pilot study. A pilot study is a small study conducted in advance or before the actual research. Therefore, content analysis is one of the most effective methods of conducting an unobtrusive research, which means the research that doesn't collect data directly from people. Through content analysis, we actually study material rather than people directly. 1. Which data are analyzed? 2. How are they defined? 3. What is the population from which they are drawn? 4. What is the context relative to which the data are analyzed? 5. What are the boundaries of the analysis? 6. What is the target of the inferences? As per Krippendorff 1980, in content analysis, 6 questions must be addressed. Many scholars have undermined the importance of content analysis when compared with discourse analysis. Even though scholars believe that there is a significant difference between discourse and content analysis, but no discourse analysis is actually possible without content analysis. Framing discourse, document, and policy analysis may be categorized as the second level methods of content analysis. Content analysis is useful in descriptive research studies. It may be used with either qualitative or quantitative data or both in an inductive or deductive way. For example, content analysis will enable a researcher to understand the data in terms of variables of frequency and prominence given to the topics under study at the same time. It enables the researcher to systematically identify the properties of the content. Even though content is central to the communication, but content is not all about the plain text. Multiple interpretations of the same content could be drawn by different analysts. Subtexts, contexts are always attached with all sorts of content. The text is an easily and commonly understandable unit of communication. However, we need interpretation to understand subtext and context. Analysis of the content is usually a multidimensional approach to understand or trace out various meanings or dimensions of a simple text. Analysis of content is as important as content itself. In content analysis, mostly two types of content can be analyzed. 1. Manifest content. 2. Latent content. Manifest content, observable content, is a type of content which can be directly observed, looked at, see or hear. Latent content is the hidden meaning of the manifest content. Strengths and limitation of content analysis. Now, let us look at the pros and cons of content analysis. Content analysis has many advantages over other research techniques, such as content analysis method is economical. The method can be applied to both qualitative as well as quantitative research. It's unobtrusive. However, there are few shortcomings of this techniques as well. One of the most quoted problems of content analysis remains to be a time-consuming process. As Reif, Lacey and Fico 1998 suggests, the essence of the validity problem in content analysis, there are concerns about the reliability and validity of the method. The personal bias of the researcher can't be minimized. Conclusion. Thus, in this lecture, we learnt the importance, process and methods of content analysis research method. After understanding the concept, we explored the processes of conducting a qualitative as well as quantitative research through the help of content analysis. I hope with proper examples, we have demonstrated how we can deconstruct or construct a meaning or concept of the content of text data. Hopefully, after this, you can apply this method in your research practice for the interpretation of the content to draw meaningful conclusions. Through the help of this technique, you can explore theories and further contribute paramount literature to the body of knowledge. For more details, please read the module on this lecture carefully and attempt the questions in the end. Thank you.